start up in the Great Lakes. So this was yesterday. I have the FFMC, so the fine fuel moisture code up. There were some fires in the yellow area, so that high potential with the FFMC. Wisconsin before getting the rain was showing fires up in this area. And then you can see that we had moderate kind of everywhere else prior to the rain. If we just move forward a little bit, maybe. Or not. Um, Let me see if it'll let me change this. One thing to, there we go, to still be cognizant of is this is the drought code. So even though we're getting a lot of rain, I mean, there is no doubt that we have been in drought in several areas of the eastern area, including up here in the Great Lakes. So I think one of the biggest things that we need to watch for, I don't know that this is really going to come into play with frequent showers. I think that watching your fine fuel moistures is the way to go for potential. But as people want to start doing prescribed burning, then definitely be aware of these areas where these drought codes are still pretty high. If you end up burning through that duff or that surface layer and you're starting to get down into those lower layers and there's organics, you could definitely have more extensive mop up on prescribed burning with the conditions that we have, even though, surface wise, we're going to be looking good. This is October 22nd. It finally changed. Our FFMCs dropped quite a bit. We'll still have a few areas that are moderate, but just something to be cognizant of. And some nice things about the fall, as soon as the leaves drop, then there's less rain is more effective. So that's another thing, right? Like it's getting through the canopies, it's getting down to the ground, it's getting those leaves wet, or this pine needles, surface fuels. The weather is colder, so we're not getting the evaporation, so the moisture is hanging around a lot more. So we have a lot of good things going in our favor. But definitely want folks to be aware of the amount of drought that we have all across the eastern area. Here's just another snapshot of that. So these are KBDI departures, so we can see that there's a good chunk. I mean, there's only a few little spots in here that the departures are minimal, or we're actually in the positive potentially from the rain coming through. So otherwise, we still have a pretty dry system down deep. Like I said, we're moving more into that surface system. So what I'm going to do today is show you fuel model Z. Don't be fooled just because people called it a slash model. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't use it. What's really beneficial about fuel model Z is that the fuel loading on it is evenly distributed. So your 1 hours, your 10 hours, your 100 hours, and your 1,000 hours are all around the same fuel loading. So what happens in Y is that your 1,000 hours are your highest fuel loading, and then the others are quite a bit less. And so you tend to get that 1,000-hour fuel driving what the model is showing you. So if you switch over to Z, you'll see a similar trend as what Y shows you, but you'll see more of these ups and downs. And what that tells you is kind of how those ones, tens, and hundreds are reacting, especially when we're getting storms come through. So some storms will create huge dips, but then you'll typically get higher rebounds with Z than you will with Y. And this can be really helpful because it looks like this is down in Missouri. And so it looked like things were improving, but then it looks like that drying trend that and the winds, low RHs that Jim was talking about are reflected here. They've also had higher temperatures down there. So we see this jump up to potentially conditions that we had back in September, the end of September. So this is just something, another way to watch. The other good thing about Z is that so field model Y, all the field models have a wind adjustment factor. So when the winds come in, then you times it by like the wind adjustment factor, which for Y it's 0.2, for Z it's 0.4. So let's say we had a 10 meter or a 10 mile per hour wind coming into the station at 20 feet. We would times that by 0.4. That would be a 4 mile per hour wind that is actually going into the calculations for spread component. So with Y though, since it's 0.2, that would just be a 2 mile per hour wind. And so what you can get by looking at Z is just seeing these peaks. You know, Jim said there was higher winds. So you see on the burning index and the spread component that you know there's definitely a spike going on here. Now, the other thing, we've gotten a lot of questions about this. Forecast winds are going to be 10 meter winds. They're not reduced down to the 20 foot. So you are getting, the forecast is going to give you that synoptic level wind. So you can probably expect this to be higher than it will be, but the important thing about it is that you are going to get a spike on this day. So just a couple more things to watch. Now we'll just cruise around a little bit and kind of see what else is going on. West Virginia, this is in the Monongahela. They're still kind of climbing. They've got a dip. We'll see how much they rebound. Still expect West Virginia to be in it for a while, until we really start to see this go down. This is north in Maryland in the Panhandle. So this little spike right here, it looked like Pennsylvania had kind of a rash of fires just north of this station. They're also still kind of maintaining conditions where there could be some good activity happen. Going over to Blackwater, to the east in Maryland, they've been kind of increasing. This was a spot that Jim showed that there wasn't going to get a whole lot of rain. So definitely want to keep an eye on this area in Maryland, especially as we're still transitioning into the fall and leaf drop, because they're still climbing or maintaining kind of the conditions that they've been at. So keeping an eye on that. Up here in the Allegheny National Forest, Pennsylvania, they've been decreasing. Hopefully, you know, when they rebound, then they will start to just be hanging out around average. So that means that the conditions are improving in this area, even though there's still quite a bit of drought. This is Noel Hagen, so Vermont, northern New Hampshire, in that area. They are continuing to just rebound right back up to where they were at. Got some good rain. We'll see how they rebound with more frequent cold fronts and rain coming in. Hopefully this will start to decrease, but so far they've been pretty much maintaining the same conditions. And then up into Maine with McFarland Hill at Acadia National Park, it looks like they've started to get out of it, kind of start to be around average, but then we see that this might kick up. It looks like they didn't quite get as much rain as had hoped, and so hopefully one of these systems will hit them more, so they may not drop as much, which means they may rebound more. So that place is, the coast of Maine is still definitely one to watch. But any questions on any places or even any of the explanation on just using a different fuel model people may not be used to, or how that all